Good evening, good evening. Come on in, come on in. It is a beautiful Tuesday. Come in. Come on in. Welcome to Build Your Best Life. I'm so glad that you could join us today. As you are on your journey to be the best you, why not be your best self by following my basic principles to build your best life? Good evening again to all my Facebook fans, YouTube fans, and Periscope fans. Thank you so much for tuning in wherever you are viewing from. If you are in the Bahamas, Jamaica, United States, Canada, Nigeria, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm excited about the new series that I'm going to be doing over the next 5 weeks, and it is a book review. And we're going to have our first guest on tonight, so I am super excited to get started. So come on in, everybody, so we can get started. Good evening, Dan. How are you today?
Good evening. I'm great today. And you?
I'm doing wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We're going to give the people about 30 seconds to come on in, and we're going to get started. I really appreciate you agreeing to come on for this first book review. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Deacon Watson and Deidre Taylor, Peggy Wiggins. Thank y'all for tuning in. Super excited to have you on. We're going to go ahead and get started. So as many of you know, I have written a book, and we're going to do a book review. We're going to talk about some of the aspects of the book tonight. My first guest is Dan Smith, Jr. And so can you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Dan Smith, Jr. I'm married to the lovely Deborah D. Smith. And we have 4 kids, 6 grands. I'm a retired supervisor special agent and in law enforcement for over 39 years. I'm just glad to be here today.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, first of all, can you tell everybody how you came about getting your copy of the book, Build Your Best Life? How did you get your copy?
Well, being married to Deborah Smith, I offered to buy a book, one of her first published books. And she told me, no, I have a special gift for you. And that book, I received that book from her. And she personally wrote a special message to me, and that stayed dear to my heart.
Very good. All right. Okay, as you know, my platform comes out of my passion to see young men overcome obstacles to build their best lives. What are your thoughts? Do you feel it is something that is needed?
Yes, it's very needed. I can even call back the days I wish I had it back then, but things happen at a certain time. These young men I used to encounter during my employment days, this would have been something that's real very helpful. But now it's still helpful for the young men that are out there today. It would really show them, give them the insight of being a better person. I don't say everybody's bad. I don't say we have a lot of bad, but we have some that is not really been given the opportunity to learn. I have the right concept of what life is really about. So your platform is great. I wish we can really get it out, and I'm here to help you get it out. So it is a great platform.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Tamika. Thank you for tuning in. All right. Now, I found this out over the weekend. Some people have purchased the book, but they have not read the book. Have you read the book in its entirety?
Yes, I've read the book in entirety. I read that book in, I think I've been over it a couple of times, and then I went in some certain points that I'll be looking up to assist some of the young men that I know, and that, will help them.
Okay. Is there a favorite chapter that you had in the book?
Well, one of my favorite chapters, several of them I liked it, but one of them is chapter 9. It states your life. And one of the main things that I like the beginning of it, who are you? We're not imitation, we're not copies. God made us one person at a time. And if you do know who you are and your purpose, then you should live a great life. And also your health. A lot of young men, with the going out drinking, smoking the wrong thing. Your health is very important because you can live a healthy, long life doing the right things, not the wrong things.
Okay. Good evening, John Mitzi. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, I think it's very, very important. That's one of the main things that I have noted in my research is, about people and self. While you may be looking at somebody else saying, I wish I was that person. I wish I had hair like them. I wish I could speak like them. They or others are looking at you saying, I wish I was them. I wish I could sing like they sing. I wish I could do math like they do. So, we should not, all of us received at least one talent. So we're all good at something, some more than others. And we should be appreciative of what we are good at and not covet what somebody else is good at, because like you were watching somebody else, someone is always watching you. So thank you for bringing out that chapter. So you said you've read the book at least once and you go back to it and refer to it. Why do you think that this is a book that someone should get?
Because it would help them in life. It would, I guess, really, they would look at it in a different aspect than if they're going in the wrong way, they going slightly in the right way, but need a little push and need some help. You have something that you can refer to. And that's one of the things I like about the book. You can go back and refer to it because it even tell you about finance, other things, but in detail, there's something that would help them. And it really, the book is really detailed. It give a lot of points. It give verses from the quotes from scripture, and it will help them. It will either turn their life around or make their life better than what it is now.
Okay. Thank you for that. Well, hopefully it is worth it for people to get it. One of the things that I did, before I wrote the book, I did a lot of research. So it has facts in it. And, I really learned a lot as far as young men, and based on all of the things that go on in life today. It probably went on years before, but I think it's worse now because of social media, because people have that instant access to others. So the bullying has gotten really, really bad. and gangs are up and whatever. So it is really causing a lot of low self-esteem among our young men. And believe it or not, that low self-esteem is leading to suicide, and suicide is the second leading cause of death among young men today. So I just think that one of the reasons why I wrote the book is like, I have this information, but how can I get it to people? Because everybody's not on Facebook. Everybody's not going to read my posts. How can I get it? So, I put the information in the book. So hopefully, people can get the information and it can help them. Because, I believe that young men, not everybody is good, and that's in all walks of life. I don't care if you are a policeman, a fireman, a professional, a CEO, a politician. There are good people and bad in every group of people. So while all young men are not, doing it like that, all of them are not about that life. So all of them are not trying to be thuggish and join gangs and do drugs. We have a lot of them that are, going after being CEOs and being entrepreneurs, trying to do, what they can do. Like our grandson, LJ, who would think at 12 years old, he's already started his own business DJing, and he has more gigs, I think, than a lot of adults have. So our young men are really, really trying. So I think they just need a hand up. But I thank you for that. And hello, Marona. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you tuning in to this book review today. Another question I have for you, last night, I don't know, I know some of the people that are on listen to parts of the radio broadcast that I was on last night. And I talked about the importance of mothers having honest conversations with their son, honest conversations, not that little, well, now, you shouldn't do this or whatever, but candid, tell it like it is, those difficult conversations. What are your feelings about this?
I'm totally in agreement with that. Not only the mothers, but the fathers too, that should also have honest conversation with their sons. I know, like my mom, she taught, one of the things she did taught me, and you mentioned it last night, how to cook, how to clean up, how to iron, to do different things, which means that you can be independent. If you don't get married or whatever, you can do, you'll be able to do it. If you get married, you can also help. And that's something that I do with me and my wife. We share things around the house. And I don't mind. Some guys said, man, I don't do stuff like that. Hey, I don't have no problem with it. I'll cook, I'll clean up, whatever I need to do, I'll do it. But you got to have an honest conversation, because you don't want to treat it where you can, you don't want to really tell them the real thing. But if you tell them real facts about life, they appreciate you. In later times, when they come, oh, this is what my mother was telling me about. Regardless of what, you have an honest conversation with them. I remember when I had my son, before he went in law enforcement, we was out at the range, and I was telling him how, certain things, how to shoot and whatever. And then he finally caught it when he was at the range, when they were having farm training. And he said, oh, this is what my daddy was talking about. So even that, saying that, the same conversation you can have with your child, with your son, and tell him straight up. Don't sugarcoat it. Just tell him straight up. This is not right. This is wrong. This is the way you should do it. Even if they don't want to listen, but just tell them, hey, you understand. If you don't understand now, you will understand. But I want to give you this information. So when you do come into that play or to that situation, that you have an understanding of how to handle it.
Okay. I know one part of my book, I talk about basic principles, how basic principles never die. They they're always around, and those are not taught any longer. And I know from my perspective what I think is right. But since you are male, I'm going to ask you a question. And good evening, Gwen Ruiz. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Um, one of the things I think that, young men, I know they tend to, rib each other when they do things, certain things, and they say, man, you do that. I can't believe you do that. But one of the things I teach is about respecting young ladies, because as far as I'm concerned, if you don't respect the young lady, how would that be someone that one day you even think about marrying? You don't even respect them enough to meet their parents. Or, one of my pet peeves is that, because my mom would have a hissy fit if somebody came to my house and blew the horn and I acted like I was going to go to the door. No, sit down. And I've noticed that that's a lot of young men do that. They don't even have to blow. They pull up, young lady run out, jump in the car, whatever. But I think that our young men should go to the door and, greet the young lady's family if they're at home and she's still living at home. But, she may be out on her own or whatever. But to open, the greeter, when they go to the car, open that car door. And if he was the one that invited her out to dinner, a movie, whatever, that he should be treating her. But I know a lot of guys nowadays, they're like, I'm not paying. She's going to pay half. I'm going to pay half. So I know you're from a different generation that our young men are today. But what is your perspective on that? Do you think that that's old-fashioned and I'm just old fuddy-duddy, or do you think it's still good? That's still good basic principles to follow?
That is great principle to follow, because you're supposed to respect a young lady, and that way she'll respect you more. Yes, open the door to the car, close the door, make sure she's in there safely. Young ladies, yes, have them to come to your door, meet your parents. But number one, safety. I mean, meet your parents. Your parents don't know who that is. So you'll be able to say, okay, well, this is the young man, well, I'll use my name, but this is Dan. And he's so and so, blah, blah, blah. And that way, if you leave and you're not back for some reason, then you know who she's with. It's not old fashioned. I see it done. If I see a young man doing it, I comment it. I say, man, I appreciate you. I like what you're doing. Keep it up. And they respect me. They say, thank you, sir. So yes, that is not old. That's something that we should do. Respect the young ladies. Because if you respect them, respect young ladies, there's things that you can, situations that may arise, they help you or whatever. But when you're taking them out to dinner, if you invite her out, yes, you pay for the meal. Don't look to say no Dutch or whatever. Unless she said, no, I would like to pay for the meal. If she says that, you say, okay, that's fine. You can do it this time. But don't make it a regular, habit. But it is good for the young man to take on his responsibility as to where he's respecting this young lady, doing what a young man do, being courteous, and that way the young lady can appreciate you more than if you did the opposite.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering, I know I have certain principles, but that doesn't mean that everybody feels the same way I do, because I know, and we have some young ladies that, my mom taught me to be independent, but not to say I wouldn't let someone buy me a meal, but I know some young ladies, their parents are teaching them, you're independent, you have your own money, you can pay your own way. But I just think if the guy has asked them to go out, that they should be paying for the meal.
Well, I'll piggyback on that, because young ladies, you give them money. If they go out, you give them money, because one of the things about being independent, if the guy don't want to pay for it, then hey, I got my money, I pay for my own meal. you know, get him to take you back home, and that might be the last date you all go out on.
All right. Yeah, but I think those are good basic principles that are no longer taught. So things like that, I really think that they are important, especially that, you think I'll say just all of that. So you're going to sit out in your car and blow for somebody to come out, and then they traipse out to the car like, that's good. Because I had that instance when my daughter Simone was here. So where you going? Ron's outside. No, you're not going. He gonna come in here. So you better call him up or whatever, because you're not running out to a car. and I don't care how old you are. That's just respect. And like you say you're going out with someone. If nobody sees who the person is or whatever, and something happens, well, I don't know. She just left here. What kind of car? You don't know. Who was she with? I don't know. So yeah, that was a very good point. I appreciate that.
And not only that, I even asked when my daughter was here. I asked about my granddaughter. She said, "Oh, she gone." I said, "Where did she go?" And they know what they need to tell me. Okay, she went with so and so. So they're gonna give me a name, and they're gonna give me where they plan on going. I mean, I don't. That's just me, and I think that's showing respect. That person, whether they're your son, your daughters, they should have the same respect that they would like to receive. So that's it. And I run across different things while working. Uh, I stopped a young man, and he parked at the wrong place, but he was so scared, and the young lady just was laughing. Because now, why was he scared? Because number one, he know he was wrong. Why was the young lady laughing? Well, because she know that he was wrong, and he wasn't going to fess up of what he was doing. So, yes, good idea. Stay respectful to all young ladies.
All right. Thank you for that. And for those that you have tuned in late, a little later, we are talking about Build Your Best Life. We're doing a book review tonight, and my special guest is Dan Smith Jr. And so that's trying to find out, if people are reading the book and applying it, is it being helpful or whatever. And so sounds like it is so far. Hi, Linda, right, Patrick and Melissa, thank you too for coming on. Okay, I have another question for you. Okay, and I do appreciate you coming on Build Your Best Life today. But as we near a close, I want to know, is there a takeaway that you would like to share with everybody about this book?
Well, this book, I'll take this book and reference it close to a Bible. I mean, it's something that young men need in their lives. If they'll read it, they can understand the culture of the world a little bit better. It might save them if they're going in the wrong direction. If they're going in the right direction, but they're not fully where they want to be, it will help them. So the book is good, and it's something that was needed to be written. So, if I had to rate this book as a 1 to 10, I'll give it a 10.
Oh, wow.
Because it does help the young men. So even though, like I'll say it when I run across them, I will offer them the book. I wish the book was out. Well, I'm gonna say 7 years ago. I've been retired 5, so 7 years ago, I'd have bought some books and carried them in my unit. And as I, come upon the young men, I gave them the book. Now whether they read it, I don't know. But I have had some of them that's really been appreciative by me talking to them. As I said, I had one that he was involved in a burglary, and I talked to him in depth. But he came by one day. He saw me. He said, "Officer Smith, I really appreciate it. I'm in college now. I'm doing well. I'm about to graduate. And I really thank you for what you did for me." So that really touched me at that particular point. It really did. So I love helping young men. But this book is good, and it's got a lot of points from biblical, some from the different passages that you can pick it up, coming from scripture of the Bible. And it got a little good content in there that will help you as you go along the way. And it could be, like say, make you build your best life.
Okay. I'm going to ask you one more question, but before I ask that question, I see a lot of people on that have purchased the book. So if you could put in the comments, if you have actually read the entire book, if you've read the entire book, can you please put it in the comments? And while they're doing that, this last question I want to ask is, another thing that I put in the book is about decisions, people and their decisions. So can you think of a time, or can you think of a reason where making a decision, you made a decision and it went one way, but if you had stopped to think, you may have done something a little differently?
Yes, I mean, yeah, it's there. You can, even like myself, sometimes, I have made a decision, and after I made that decision, I'm thinking about, oh, I should have did something totally different. So that's something that the young men or young ladies, whoever, you have to think about your decision. You have to think about the consequence of when you make that decision. So that's something very important, making the right decision. But at the bottom line of it, is this decision going to help me? Is it going to hurt me? Is it going to help somebody else? Or is it going to hurt somebody else? And if you feel like it's going to hurt somebody else, then you don't make that decision. You do a 100-degree turnaround and make another decision that will help and not hurt.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Well, I was waiting on the comments. I don't see any comments where anybody has read the book. My goodness, my goodness. I appreciate y'all buying the book, but I really want y'all to read it because you can't give me feedback and I can't have anything to correlate to others as I'm talking about this if you haven't read the book. And if I ask a question, I guess you can't answer it if you haven't read it. But I thank everybody for tuning in, and I thank you so much, Dan, for agreeing to review this book with me this evening. Your insight and comments has really helped me, and I'll be doing this for the next 4 weeks as well. I have someone different next week that's coming on to tell us a little bit about the book and what they got out of the book. So I appreciate it. Well, thank you, Deidre. Deidre has at least read some of it. Thank you. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. And of course, if you haven't read the book, you don't know whether you would recommend it or not. But I'm going to say it would make a great Christmas gift, especially to someone that's young, that is changing different phases of their lives, like going from middle school to high school to college, going to work for the first time, because it does have a lot of basic principles and information to help people. But please go and visit my website, www.buildyourbestlife.org. There you can see my calendar of events, my blog. I drop a blog every Monday. My web store is out there where you can purchase autographed copy of my book. And learn more about my platform. So again, that's www.buildyourbestlife.org. And thank you, Deidre. She said she's going to finish it. Thank you so much. But thank you all so much for tuning in. And again, Dan, thank you.
You're welcome.
Day. And please join me next Thursday, which is the 10th. I'm going to have Asha Scott, and she's going to tell young men what they need to know about a young lady. So that will be 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all. Have a blessed evening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.